Welcome back to the Delusional Spouse series. Course correction. Joshua 9:14 to 15, King James Version. And the men took of their victuals, and asked not counsel at the mouth of the Lord. And Joshua made peace with them, and made a league with them, to let them live. And the princes of the congregation swear unto them. Okay, so you married the wrong one. You didn't ask God's permission, and now you're in a covenant that you made before God with the wrong one. That's the same thing that happened with Joshua when he made a covenant with the Gibeonites without consulting God first, after God had instructed them to wipe out everyone and everything in sight. I guess Joshua was so confident in his leadership skills, he figured he could make a sound judgment call without going to God first. Now they done got tricked into making a deal with the same people God told them to get rid of. Oftentimes we are like Joshua. We make decisions on our own strength only to find ourselves in a terrible situation. We need a course correction. What is a course correction? A course correction is when God has to come in and clean up what we messed up. And sometimes the death of a thing has to occur. As for Joshua's course correction, fast forward a couple hundred years when David was king, and one of his men killed descendants of the Gibeonites that Joshua had made the covenant with. The covenant was for the Gibeonites to live and work amongst the Israelites in peace. Some of the descendants of Israel didn't know about the covenant or disregarded the covenant and breached the contract by killing a Gibeonite. And to course correct that breach, the Gibeonites requested for 7 men from the bloodline of Saul be handed over to them. God approved because a vow is a vow and a deal is a deal. God can course correct your bad decision in the form of a marriage by either putting his favor on it and making it work for his glory, or by ending it. Still for his glory, because you are now free to marry the right one. It is up to you not to make another bad decision and marry the wrong one again. Divorce is not a backup plan. A marriage was intended to last forever, until death, not until happiness runs out or until you change your mind. A covenant cares nothing about your feelings. Once the deal is made, you have to uphold it. But thank God for His grace and forgiveness that He bestows on us should we dissolve a marriage. The covenant of marriage is so powerful. One party, with the help of God, can turn things around for good or bad. In your marriage, you can decree a thing and it shall be so. I'll share with you a time I had to get a course correction. So, rewind almost 20 years ago when I first came to the Americas. I was fresh off the island and fresh out the church. I came here at the time when I was actively in church and God was an active part of my life. I came to the land of sin, and my relationship with God kind of took a back seat. But one thing with God, though, you might put him on the back burner, but he always have you in the forefront of his mind. Before I came here, he gave me a promise. Isaiah 54:17. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. That was his covenant to me before I migrated. God knew I was going to get myself in some things I had no business getting into. Anyway, I took it upon myself to get married without consulting God. I knew better than to make a decision that big without his approval. But I did it anyways. Free will. Baby, when I tell you all hell broke loose. It's like I was suspended in the air for years. Couldn't move forward for nothing. My ex husband and I had an agreement. For us, it was a simple thing, but for God, it was a serious matter. Fast forward 5 years in, and nothing is falling in line. I remember that January approaching God from the place of a daughter. Because before I had a covenant with my husband, I had a covenant with God. Baptized and filled with the Holy Spirit, I was in covenant with Him first. So that January, I cried out to God and I repented. I remember saying, God, forgive me. I know I did this thing without your permission and I knew better. But it's already done. I'm already in it. And now I'm inviting you in it. Come in and fix everything that's broken. I threw my hands up and left it there at the altar because it's your problem now, Lord. Listen, when I tell you what was suspended for 5 years was released in 5 months, before that prayer, I remember there was some important documents I needed, and I haven't heard from my husband in months. It was complicated. Don't even try to figure it out. But after that prayer, I kid you not, my husband called me out of nowhere a few weeks, if not few days later. I got the documents I needed to accomplish the task at hand, and in 5 months, everything sprung forth. Everything turned around quickly after that prayer. You see, God will intervene when He's invited. I'm divorced now, and opportunities have presented itself, but now I know better. Another marriage outside of God's will not work out well for me. No, thank you. I'll wait until He says yes, then I'll say I do. A threefold cord is not easily broken. One party of the union can decree a thing before God, and it will be so. Your tongue can break or mend your marriage. How God course correct is based on your heart posture. If it's your desire and it's His will, He will instruct you on how to proceed. It could be a vow renewal or a divorce, which is the death of a thing. Either way, it will be corrected. We have gotten to a place in society where we don't value the covenant of marriage. We think we can just jump in and jump out whenever we feel like it, not realizing the spiritual implications of a covenant. Many are ready for the wedding, but lack the substance to maintain the marriage. If you're going to do it right. Don't just marry for love, marry for purpose. And most importantly, don't leave God out of it.